Hello, welcome to another episode of the Bearded Mystic podcast, and I'm your host, Rahul N Singh. Thank you for joining today. And today I have a listener's question. I love these type of questions, and it's from Dillon G, as I mentioned in the last podcast. And he's been a listener. He's been a listener for many years now, and we've held weekly meditation sessions. He was very regular. And I think I want to start those up again. So you can look forward to some notifications about that in the future. Now, his question is, okay. So over the past several months, I've been meditating daily and feel more grounded in the experience of formless awareness. I can now more confidently recognize the state of witnessing, being aware of my awareness, and observing the sense of presence that's beyond the body, intellect, ego, or memory. What once seemed abstract now feels intuitively and experientially clear. I resonate deeply with what Advaita Vedanta describes, that this presence is formless beyond time, space, and gender, and fundamentally unaffected by the material world. Just a quick thing before we get to the questions. This is brilliant. This perfectly describes as it should be. We sometimes we forget how natural and simple the experience of being aware is. We don't have to do anything other than be the witness. The more you go into being the witness, the easier it is to break away from the identification of body and mind. Now, it's not that the body and mind itself is bad. It's our attachment to the identification of the body and mind that takes us back a little. So we can end up going into pain and suffering and going into that endless loop where we can't really transcend our suffering. And that is where the problem lies. But what Dillon G is talking about here is that, once this whole experience of being aware of awareness and being in formless awareness was something abstract. And this happens when we're in spirituality. We think that all these concepts are very, very abstract, different, difficult. It seems to be impossible to achieve. And my thing is, if the rishis said it, there's most likely it's possible. And the fact that there's been many accounts, especially in India, of people achieving the same thing, the exact same thing, in my opinion, shows that if this can be replicated, it's very much possible. Now, people like to say, well, we live as householders, so it's very difficult. Well, not really. In fact, I think as a householder, it's even easier, because when you're just a monk, yes, all your focus is on spirituality, but there's nothing that's going to challenge it for now, whilst when you are in the shelter at home, in your normal day-to-day life, and then you have a guru as well that you look up to, that you have someone that you follow, and when they challenge you in the household as a householder, that is the real deal. So dealing with your spouse, dealing with your parents, dealing with your children, dealing with your work, managing all of that, and yet keeping an inner stillness, an inner centeredness, that's the real deal. So for me, I think being a householder makes it easier. That's my perspective. That's just my opinion. But I have found that being in formless awareness in the home is a lot easier. And yes, you do need constant remembrance. Of course, there's things I put on for music, and I just like to dissolve in that. And there's times when I will, with my breath, remember that I am formless awareness, or that there is only formless awareness, and that whatever me is still remaining, may that enter the shelter of the formless awareness, and that I let go and enter into formless awareness. And then if I've done any mistake in the state of duality, I apologize not only to the people, I'm sorry to not only to those people that I've hurt or have caused suffering to, but even to myself. And this as something I've grown up to understand and refine and so forth. But yeah, it's what, and also what Dillon says, which is amazing, that it's beyond my body, intellect, ego, and memory. That's true. Formless awareness cannot be formed as memory. If you try to make it from memory, automatically you see it as an object. So therefore memory doesn't stick. And if you're chasing the memory of an experience, even then, like, you won't be stable, and then it becomes another attachment. So and again, like, even transcending the intellect, yes, you can discriminate or discern between the real and the unreal, but there's a point where you don't need to do that anymore, where you don't need to see what is changeless and changing. You can automatically just enter into formless awareness, and not just, when I say enter, meaning that you just recognize it's right here, and in this moment. He's also said, I've also come to appreciate that this awareness is not only within me, but shared, the same essence or substance that we refer to as God. Perfect. I don't think anyone can word that better than it is. And that is so true. That is literally when you know it's true self-realization. Because if you just see it as I am the self and I'm the only one who's realized, no, then it's ego. But this is important. This stage is a good step in self-realization. Something has happened here. Like individual waves made of the same water, I'm starting to see this awareness reflected in others. Brilliant. Recognizing that behind each person's body and mind, there is also this shared stillness and presence. This is absolutely important. Again, and also very difficult to practice, because people have personalities and we may not agree with those personalities, but to remember that they are still that shared presence, that formless awareness, is what's really important, and reminding oneself of that, because again, we can trip up at any time. This is very good. So he comes to the question. My question is, what now? While the realization that God is within you once felt deeply empowering and uplifting, I've noticed that it hasn't necessarily translated into any increased ability to influence the material world. I still face the same limitations I did before. So I wonder, am I right in thinking that this awareness doesn't grant us more power in a worldly sense, but rather changes our relationship to experience? Or is there another depth or level beyond this that I've not yet reached? Good question. I mean, first one, what now? I mean, see, this is when I can say ego is still present somewhat, because over here we're seeing that there's something in time saying, well, what's next? There's got to be something. There's got to be something more than this. But actually, once you're in formless awareness and you're resting in that formless awareness, one is to maintain that resting. When I say resting, I don't mean that it's literally, I saw a video about this where somebody was criticizing when we say resting in formless awareness, but I don't even understand the meaning. It was very pedantic, in my opinion. But when one is grounded in formless awareness, when the foundation and everything is formless awareness, there cannot be anything now or here. It's all formless awareness. All is Brahman. There is nothing more to grasp or contain or to grow towards or anything like that at this point. If one sees the ego arising to what is next, well, there must be something more. But yeah, it's the ego is telling you there's something more. You see, once you meet God, what is left? Once you see God face to face, once you see Brahman face to face, and the face merges into one, what's next? Nothing more. I mean, this is the pinnacle. And to embrace the pinnacle, is the most important thing. Now, is that pinnacle giving you bliss? Is it giving you peace? Is it giving you joy? If it's giving you all of these things, then you're good. Then that's all you need. That's liberation. So yeah, you know, in my experience, I've not gained any extrasensory powers or nothing that stands out, shall I say, where I'm like, oh, that's because, you know, I realize that I'm formless awareness. Nothing like that has actually happened to me. And yeah, I'm just trying to, yeah, there's some element of cold reading that I can do now, so, which I tend to avoid, because there's only so much you can look at somebody and then just totally understand them, and you just want to not do that. It's kind of, I just don't like doing that, but I have the ability to do that, where I can look at somebody and totally kind of understand where they are spiritually and everything like that. I tend to not do it anymore because I don't think we live in a time today where everyone thinks they're the perfect disciple or spiritual aspirant, so I tend not to say anything. Sometimes I do make those declarations in passing in conversations, and people are like, how can you say that? But it's because of that ability. But I've always had that ability when I was even younger, so it's something that's only carried on. I guess maturity is that I've let go of it and I don't see it as important. So yeah, you don't need these extra powers, these siddhis, you know. Even the Patanjali Yoga Sutra say so, and even in just spirituality in general, you don't need these siddhis, these powers. They are Maya itself. They're part of this nature. Therefore, they don't hold much value. In fact, compared to the bliss of the self, that's nothing. You don't want any. You don't need more. You don't need the world to bend to your will either. You know, it's like, let the world be. It's gonna run its own course. You are running your own course in terms of body and mind too. Because now, but there's no course for the self to be in now. So once you've realized that you are formless awareness, there's nothing left more to do. There's not a more single. There's no such thing as even taking a single step now, because you are where you've always been. You know, there's in the Japji Sahib, they say, and it's really good that, you know, I forgot what it is, but basically, it goes through the whole thing that the truth is the same today as it is yesterday, as it was as it will be tomorrow. Like, it'll always be the same, and that sameness is what we have to understand of formless awareness. That's annoying me that I forgot the line. Yeah, and really, yeah, the only thing that changes is your relationship to experience. You see the how fallible experience is. So even if you have mystical experiences, you understand that actually, isn't there an awareness of those mystical experiences? So even if one is having transcendent states of mind, you're witnessing that. The witness is still present, because it's the witness that is the same throughout mystical experiences and non-mystical experiences. So even there, you know, we can sense it. And yet, in my opinion, I've not found any more depth after being in formless awareness. Once you realize that Tatvamasi, that you are that, there's nothing more, in my opinion. There's no higher level or below level. These things as higher and lower, you know, that's totally destroyed as well. Also, I recognize that even asking this might come from a mindset that's still caught in seeking or trying to move up spiritual levels, wanting to reach higher and higher heights I don't know if that's the most helpful frame, but I'll admit it's the one that appeals to me. I totally get it, Dylanji. Totally normal. Like we do want to keep growing. And how is it that one can be self-realized and still be in the mindset of a seeker? The way I look at it is this. You've realized yourself, Tattvamasi, you are that Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am formless awareness, I'm Niragarupam. Fine. But as a mind, yes, the mind may still want to learn more. The mind can keep seeking, can seek the language to explain what this Brahman is. So it can explore that. So one is always seeking in that aspect. How can one remain humble? Well, simply by understanding that even if you say there's higher spiritual levels, isn't that the ego that wants to go higher? Isn't it the ego that tries to pull you lower? See, the self is static. It's still. It's the same. It's changeless. It's beyond levels. It's vast. So, and I understand what you're talking about, because there was a time when I was at that same stage, and I realized that that stage was only creating more of a spiritual ego, because I wanted to be higher than the next person. But you know, when you can stand next to someone who is ignorant of their true nature, and if you can stand next to them and still feel that they're the same as you, that's when you've reached. But if you're standing next to somebody who has not realized their true nature, and you think in your mind they're lower than you, then that's ego. Then I would question whether self-realization has truly occurred then. Because self-realization means there's only the self, because the self is omnipresent. That's the only thing that remains. So that's the important step to understand here. And then how do you measure if you go higher and higher? Because when will you stop? Because even if you want to go higher into the experience of formless awareness, you'll only be reaching yourself in the end, under the illusion that there's something higher that you're attaining. Yeah, for example, if you, there's waves to the ocean. In the end, no matter how high the waves that you chase, that you surf, in the end, it's just the ocean. So it doesn't really matter. And again, because this is infinite, even if you go higher and higher, you'll only be resting back to yourself. You can keep going higher, for sure. It will allow that game to happen, because you are allowing the game to happen. You are the self. You are creating the game for yourself. The rishis will tell you, bro, chill. Or sister, chill. But it's our mind, when it mixes with wanting to achieve something higher, that we play that game. And remember, the mind is also just a reflection of this pure consciousness. Nothing more, nothing less than that. So that's important to understand as well. So I get it. It's really, really important. And then, so you say, my question really is, have I reached a kind of plateau, or is there more to discover or integrate from here? I think I've addressed this somewhat. But have you reached a kind of plateau? And what do we do when we plateau, when we kind of are at the same place for quite some time? The first indication, is it giving me peace? Is it giving me bliss? Is it giving me joy? Is it giving me happiness, contentment? And are these breaking at any point? If they're breaking, that means we're still working. Okay, so the mind is still getting accustomed, we're refining, and that's important. Nothing wrong with that. But that still means that self-realization has taken place, but now there's a refinement going on. So that's important. That's the integration period. The more you stabilize and the more you're grounded in formless awareness, when you realize that's your only true nature and it's unbreakable, it's changeless, it you cannot tear yourself away from it. When it's that integrated, interwoven, you know that there's nothing left to do. Now, my biggest thing that I do, and because I also felt the same thing that you're feeling, like I went through the same process, same feelings, same questions, like I plateaued, what do I do now? And what I realized is that even though I know I'm formless awareness, I like the game of being the disciple. I love it. I absolutely adore being the disciple. So whenever I see my guru, I'm absolutely enamored. I'm not saying there's duality in that. No, I recognize the guru as my own self. There's no difference. But I enjoy being the disciple, and not only the disciple of my guru, but disciple of Satchitananda, of existence itself. So, I read, I read all the time, and that reading gives me joy, gives me language. I enjoy reading people's experiences into into discovering their true nature. I absolutely love it. And these kind of things, they're not only are they inspirational, but they show you that you are doing the right thing. You are on the right path. There's no need to make big declarations that, oh, I'm enlightened or I'm awakened. Your life speaks it. You speak it. Your words speak it. Your family will see it. Your friends will see it. And yes, you may become a bit more solitary. You may be a bit more mindful about how you spend your time, which is only natural. But if you reach that plateau, it's not a bad thing. From what you've explained to me, like, I'm going based on that, and for me, I think if you feel like there's still something a bit more, then maybe there still is, but sometimes it's like, for example, you're looking for the necklace that's already around your neck. You're looking for the watch that you're already wearing. You're looking for the glasses that you already have on. And that may be the case here. And sometimes we just need to be reminded, well, that's just the case, and there's nothing more now. Another thing is, how silent does your mind get? Now, if your mind still races with thoughts, and it's still in the rajasic level or tamasic level, then we need to make sure that that's calm. So, I don't know why I said that last bit. I don't know why, but that is a weird thing to do. But just check the nature of thoughts. And if you're plateauing, plateau into formless awareness. I mean, it sounds funny and ridiculous, but yeah, in every breath, just remember your true nature, that there is only this formless awareness. So anyway, this is a long video, but I kind of enjoyed it. If there's anyone has any questions, Dillon, if you have any follow-up questions, please ask. And anyone else, if you have any questions, please do ask. Don't be shy. And do like this video, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. And follow me on Discord and so on. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much. Take care. Namaste.